before Rishi came up, what you were talking about really resonated with me. And since those other interactions, I kind of forgot the words, but I just know that I feel really vulnerable and afraid of this dynamic.
And what specifically do you feel afraid of when you say this dynamic? What do you mean?
Of fully letting go into the love. And I have fears of like being jealous and fears of expectation and fears of I feel father stuff coming up.
Yes.
And so I have a pretty tough dynamic with my dad who raised me, and I've noticed sometimes it's like doesn't feel rational, but it's like often there you being mean to me like the way he was. And it's been an interesting cycle because I felt so open, initially, and then that's another.
Yes, it's the honeymoon. It's got a role that draws you in. You recognize something at the start, and it was in an environment that was safe, like in the past, a life of seeking spiritually, but at a comfortable distance. But when you are really serious, unless you are one of the very, very few that comes into this life with almost no karma, if you are very serious and you are like almost everyone, carrying baggage from childhood, what will reflect itself will be an environment where there is no wiggle room away from any of that. That's the grace of being true inside your heart. So your fear of these pieces with your father are welcome. It is why the figure is male. It is why the setting is small and intimate. It is all being constructed by you because you are ready, and that is why fear comes up. The beauty is, everything that was broken in childhood, it is recreated when you are ready. But what is recreated is everything you wanted. Everything that was lacking is there. But the thing about the shell is the fundamental piece the ego holds on to is from that first hit when the shell was first formed. The underlying conditioned belief is never open up that much again because the sting is so intense, and then the shell forms. So there is a recognition that it is safe, and yet there is this fear. It's all in alignment. The question inside of yourself is whether or not you want to be free. There has been conscious choice not to allow the environment of teaching to get too large. Because from my experience in this life, when that happens, the deepest level of the work cannot occur. So it is the same as with Richie. The fear is welcome. The grace is that if you are mature enough inside of yourself for the reflection to reflect the doorway, At the very same time, there is the maturity to realize that the fear is not warranted, even though it arises. That really what is happening is what you prayed for. You told me the same, you prayed for this. The prayer came out of true earnestness. That is why it has come into being. And now there is the fear. The vulnerability. You cannot know invulnerability until you are really ready to open and meet vulnerability. Part of your spiritual search, the lion's share of it is pulled from this truth in the heart, but part of it was driven in this movement to get away from inside of yourself the pain in your human life, in your relationship with your father. So you look at what happens, you learn to be incredibly independent and self-reliant and complete in yourself. And the play brings back what looks to be a recreation of what you were moving away from, the human pain. Hot damn. So I do not know anything of your past, but what was spoken is true, isn't it? It's because it is all one thing. It's because on the deepest level, what I am is the awakened part of yourself. And I come in the form of what looks to be Father, because that's the doorway. The thing of it is, you already have the trust, or you would not be dealing with the fear.
That right there is like the most challenging part of this relationship, like wanting like validation, and then like the mix of stuff that comes with that, like wanting to be seen, like I said in the letter, wanting to feel special, and just identifying the trap of that, and
Yes.
especially as it manifests here.
Yes, I do see you. Wanting to be special and wanting to be seen are not the same thing. The thing of it is, the truth of who you are is the only thing that is special. It is just not different. It is not better than special because it is not separate special. It is what is truly special. It is the most beautiful thing imaginable.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. And I feel like I understand that. I can see the egoic manifestation, and therefore that's what's hard for me about this too. Or has been hard, is just to have that awareness of it, but to hold it in the same love and the same, well, that's part of the one specialness too,
All that is necessary is to receive the offer. That's all. The way you receive the offer is just to be, and whatever comes in, it is just being with that. There is no success or failure in it, there is just being. If you feel like you are totally screwing up, it is just being with that. Doesn't matter what it is. It will all come. It is all being divinely orchestrated.
Kata hug this time.
There is this beauty. What is present? What is silent? When there is true humility, which is the readiness to forego conditioning, desire, and the readiness to receive what has been conditioned to believe as threatening, then this silence, this stillness, begins revealing itself, begins offering itself. And in that, this dream reflection begins to morph. The doorway is never through the door that is already open. In the open door, there is no work left to be done. Typically in spiritual circles, the ego construct that needs connection with people gets involved in tantra and chanting and yoga. And the one who is afraid of relationship follows the path of silence and solitude. But for the one who is mature, the reflection offers the door that is closed. You can only know invulnerability until you fully know vulnerability. When you fully know vulnerability, you recognize it is not really vulnerability. It is the awakening of the true heart, disguised by conditioned mind. But the words cannot do it. It takes enormous courage because the conditioning has been to steer at all costs away. But this is the only reason why it takes courage, because of the force of conditioning, not because there is any threat. On the one hand, could say that if you seek is a sense of safety, this is the last place you want to be, and another thing can be spoken, that this in truth is the only thing that is safe. One is the episodic experiences of meeting what has controlled you, which the mind calls the experience of not being safe. And the other is the truth.